Hello and welcome to another glorious Wednesday where we are going to be taking a look at more Tinto talks. This time we're going to be looking at conquest and the integration of your land. And before we get onto that, lovely artwork, obviously. We've got the fall of Constantinople here in 1453. Very worst day of my life, clearly. And yeah, it's beautiful artwork. This is the second time that Paradox has made art relating to this particular event. Don't know what I have to say about that, but it is what it is. But yeah, lovely artwork. Let us, though, get into the dev diary itself and see what we have to learn and glean from the Tinto Talks. It is that time of the week where we give you new information about our entirely super secret upcoming game with the codename Project Caesar. Today we'll talk about how Conquest works and how integrating the new locations you've conquered will work. With Conquest we're talking about how you'll take territory through warfare. For how the actual military campaigns work, recommend reading Tinto Talks 22, The Concept of War, 23, Logistics, and 24... What came in 24 again? 24 was... naval aspects, of course. So, Casus Belli. Let's just see how we get those. To start a war, many feel that you need a Casus Belli for it, which we'll refer to as CB for the rest of the talk. If you like a CB and you start a war, you'll gain some aggressive expansion and lose some stability. That is clearly the best CB. Now, while this may not be something you always want, it is a more lenient way to recover instead of spending precious paper mana like in EU4. However, there are multiple ways to get CBs in this game. More lenient than EU4 is certainly interesting. Alright. Now, Project Caesar does not have a fabricate claim button that magically creates a CB for any nation, nor do we have a system of claims. Now, that is radical. That is very, very different to what I imagine most were expecting. You do have several different options to get CBs. Okay. So, you can't fabricate claims because there are no claims. And if you go to war without a CB, you are going to take a stability hit. You're going to take a lot of aggressive expansion. So what are the CBs that we're going to be getting instead? Be interesting. All right, first of all, there's the super old school way of getting one from an event. Fair enough. Makes sense. May not cater to everyone's playstyles. It's way too random. But if it was good enough for your parents back in 2001, it's good enough for, yeah, okay. Secondly, we have the option of calling a parliament and asking them to come up with a valid reason for war against a nearby country. Okay, this is probably going to be the new primary way, I imagine. It's powerful, but unless you have high crown power, which now seems way more important, you may need to negotiate with your estates for their backing. And parliaments cannot be called every month either. Democracy is not even invented yet. I mean, it kinda is. Like, isn't democracy invented in Athens, like, 2,000 years before this game is set? Well, less than that, something like that. Either way, whatever, it's relevant. Finally, we have the way of creating a CB when there is more or less a legitimate way to one. First of all, creating a CB on a country requires you to have a spy network in the target country, similar to how to claim fabrication works in EU4. Why is EU4 relevant, Johan? Is this because this is a sequel to EU4, potentially, maybe? But you also need to have some sort of reason to create the type of CB you want. If you play as Denmark and you want to take back Skåne from Sweden, as you have cores in it, then you can create a Conquer core CB on them. Okay, so this is interesting then. This means that you're not capable of just... I have cores on this other country, I'm just going to click declare war. You still have to create the CB on them, which is certainly interesting. Or if they've used privateers in sea zones where you have a maritime presence, then you can create another CB on them. There are 50 plus different CBs that you can use depending on circumstances. Everything from the Flower Wars, okay, so the Aztec Flower Wars are in, for countries of the Nahuatl religion, dissolving the Tartar yoke for the tributaries under that international organization, or humiliating rivals. I think this is the first confirmation that rival system, in some regard, is in the game, potentially. So we have the First Crusade against Lithuania, Bohemia versus the Kingdom of Poland, and 31 allies and subjects underneath Bohemia, 15 under Poland. And yeah, that is confirmed right here as well, which is I mean, we all saw the map of Bohemia and its vast vassal network in Silesia, so it makes sense. Okay, that is an interesting CB system, certainly. Having to create a CB even if you have cores, not having the ability to just fabricate claims, I do think this is going to be very powerful. The Parliament getting CBs via the Parliament, so high crown power just became a lot more important in my eyes than it was previously. I will say, though, we do have this image from way back when we were looking at ages and advances. And diplomatic focus, claim fabrication. Is this a system of, fabricating claims in the method of, creating these CBs? Is that going to make this faster, or is claim fabrication a purely I am inventing a claim on you and we're getting the old fabricate claim system back? In which case, the Diplo focus here in the Age of Renaissance seems to be a little bit more powerful than I previously thought. Though I will say we were told that all of these were just modifiers, the focuses. They weren't giving new mechanics. Would you count the ability to fabricate a claim as a mechanic? I don't know. So yeah, it would be nice to get a little clarification on that one. I'm not sure. But anyway, let us move on. No CB is the best CB, evidently here. So war goals. Whether you decide that a small border adjustment is needed or you wish to wage total war, you need to pick which war goal you wish to pursue. Different Casus Belli will allow you to pick different war goals, and the war goal you pick impacts the cost of conquest as well. A conquer CB will make taking land cheaper, while a humiliation CB will make them more expensive. Okay, the fact that you can take land in a humiliation CB is certainly interesting. I like it, though. I like that you can actually do that. In EU4, when you accidentally click Humiliate War rather than your Conquest War, it was a little bit annoying, let's be honest. Especially if you didn't realize until the end of the war. Being able to take land, even if it is a little bit more expensive, I think is a good thing. A war goal for a province requires you to occupy the entire province. Okay, so war goals are for provinces, not on the location level. Though I believe it is possible to conquer individual locations. I think we're going to learn more about the peace deals in the next Dev Diary, though. While a naval superiority war will give you a bonus score for blockading the enemy and defeating their navy if possible. Okay, good. If your war goal is fulfilled, then the war score from it ticks up to a maximum of 25. This is the same as EU4. The total impact from battles in the game can be worth 50. Okay. Impact from battles is 50. What is it in EU4? I feel like it was 25 in EU4. Occupations and blockades have no cap and can reach over 100 if possible. So, if you get the war goal, you get a few occupations, win a few battles, maybe you're going to be able to get to 100 without fully occupying every single goddamn province, which would be actually kind of delightful. In Project Caesar, therefore, not every war is necessarily a total war like some previous games we've made. Fair enough. If the war goal is not fulfilled, it's only possible to get 100 war score if the winning side controls all of the losing side's locations, and the losing side controls no towns or cities. So control, of course, is sieges as well as own. So if you go and you occupy every single one of your opponent's nation, like the whole nation, but your enemy has managed to counter-invade you and it controls a few towns and cities, then they're not going to be at 100, which is certainly interesting as well. This means that if you have your war goal taken care of, winning some important battles and occupying some land, you'll be able to force a reasonable peace on somebody. Okay. So, one of the things that we'd learned, or that we were told a long time ago, was specifically in regard to the province of Goa, and that you were the Indians that wanted to conquer Goa from a Portugal player who had it at no control. It would be very easy for them. here I'm thinking, how are they going to be able to get a peace deal forced on Portugal in this scenario? Because the war goal, they would occupy Goa, it would be at 25. There would be no battles because Portugal's entire army is back in Portugal, and then an occupation of a location that had zero control probably wouldn't be worth a lot. So I'm not sure how that situation is forced, unless there is some kind of way of forcing peace if you occupy the war goal for a certain length of time, which is what Imperative Rome had. I could see that being the case, but we've got no news on that yet. Maybe, again, it's not in this dev diary. Maybe it will be in a future one. So, we have the independence of Kalpi. I think this is in India, but I'm not sure. They're looking for independence. So impact of current war goal. Conquer cost is cheaper. Aggressive expansion is normal. Conquer is normal for defender. Okay. Interesting that it's different there. Nice. Okay. So integration. This is, I guess, the new term for coring provinces because you don't have cores anymore. So what do you do then when you have... Well, you do have cores. You don't have the mana to click a button to core something. What do you do then when you've signed a peace and you've got some new land to your country? First of all, it's not as simple as a location being a core or not, as Project Caesar introduces a new system of integration for locations. There are 4 states of integration in the game. First of all, the conquered locations, which have a high separatism, lower control, and make pops unlikely to convert or assimilate. This is a state of any location you conquer that is not a core of yours. When a location becomes integrated, separatism drops to 1/5 of the previous levels, and control has a higher maximum. Higher maximum, okay. When a location becomes a core, the minimum control is higher and your primary and accepted cultures grow more, while minorities become stagnant. We also have the colonized status, which is after you have colonized a location, it's not yet a core. A colonized location has a lower maximum control. Alright, so what is separatism? It's the reduction of satisfaction for pops that are not of the primary culture, very likely to make the locations very unproductive for quite some time. And then a location becomes a core automatically if it is integrated or colonial and has at least 50% of the pops that are of the primary or accepted cultures of the country. Okay, so how long does integration take is the big question here. Doesn't say here. Let's see. In Scania, this is obviously the Kingdom of Denmark and the Kingdom of Scania have cores there. This is, I imagine, the integration for Sweden. We can see max control because of having a core. It's plus 20 monthly control going up. Only primary and accepted growth, yes. Only gets vision when occupied, yes. Okay. Integration here then. How do you integrate a location? Well, it's a challenge in Project Caesar as you do not have any magic paper mana to spend it on, but instead you need to use one of your members of your cabinet to integrate it. At the start of the game, the cabinet member can integrate an entire province at once, but in the age of absolutism, you have an advance that will let you integrate an entire area at once. Okay, I like that. The integration is not instant, but depends on many factors like the status and the population living in the locations affected, and I imagine the ability, the stats of the council member that you're sending, the cabinet member that you're sending to the province. But the average integrating a province may take between 25 and 50 years. That is quite a significant amount of time. Okay. I think there is going to be some people somewhat upset with the pace of the game. I think it is great that the pace is being slowed down compared to EU4. I'm perfectly happy with that. I can imagine some people will be a little bit irritated by that. Getting core cost reduction, getting cores, done in a year in EU4 is one of the strategies, especially for like the Ottomans. Getting 25 core cost reduction in their ideas, taking another 25 from admin ideas, you would be very, very happy with like very cheap and very fast cores. That doesn't seem to be the case here. That doesn't seem to be possible here. I think that's interesting. I'm not unhappy with it. I think that is, yeah, slowing the pace down is fine by me. But I do think some people are not going to like it. Then this guy's integrating Amont, probably in France, judging by just the name, but whatever. There are 6 locations to be integrated in Amont. Integrating province goes at 0.33. The fact that it has a town, bringing it down. The power projection you have makes it go faster. Okay. The province governors. Province governors, also Francien. Yes, I was correct. Province governors. I'm worried. I don't want to see the Imperator Rome system of governors return. Please don't make that be a thing that comes back. I really don't want to see that. I thought it was a bad system, and that worries me a little bit, just seeing it there. Also, I don't see anything from the stats of the cabinet member here, which is, I mean, unless that is province governors and it's just talking about the cabinet member. If that's the case, then fine. Maybe get yourself a better cabinet member, because 2% seems pretty low. I hope that's the case. Oh, that's the case. I hope I don't have to set characters to administer various, areas in my nation. I would very much hate that. But if this is just talking about cabinet members, then fine. It's just a weird thing to call them. But anyway, stay tuned next week. We're talking about how peace treaties themselves work and which ones we have. Good. Okay, cool. Wow, indeed. I do like that there's always somebody who dislikes this. I have some comments to go over as well. I've already read through a few of the dev responses that I would like to share with people. So we'll start off with this one right here. A conquer CB makes taking land cheaper, while humiliation will make more expensive. So it is possible to take land with humiliation now, and with naval superiority and other such CBs. Yes, it is. When it comes to a lenient way to recover, does this mean it's also cheaper to truce break a nation you lost to? No, it is not cheaper. So, truce breaking in EU4 is, if I remember rightly, 5 stability, which of the 7 total it's perfect. It's a perfect score, 5 out of 7. If you get that reference, you're probably old, like me. But that is a lot of stability. It's a lot of mana. In EU5, we've got a plus 100, minus 100 system. So is that also going to be 5 out of 7? Am I going to lose like 160? I took that math out of my ass. Stability to truce break? I don't know. So no more automatic CBs. You have to take a manual action to generate a CB before using it, even with something like Reconquest. Yes, unless it's given by an event or other content. Very cool. Very interesting. Will we still get free cores and things like Ottomans on Constantinople through a decision? No. Or I guess Castile free integrating Aragon or Poland, or free integration of Lithuania. I don't know if the no is referring to this. Well, I kind of do, because we've got this message here. Is integration only possible through a cabinet action? What happens when you annex a subject of yours? How do the territories start out on the scale? It depends on the level of integration the subject had, the culture of the locations, and the type of subject. So if you're integrating a subject where you have an accepted culture and accepted religion, they're over 50%, and their level of integration is high enough of the subject, then they will become cores basically instantly. But yeah, no more free cores, which is, interesting, especially for annexing subjects. Maybe make them very... I mean, if cores are very specifically related to accepted culture and religion, then it makes sense that annexing a subject isn't going to give you a core, because if that subject is a different culture, different religion. So I guess that makes sense. I'm okay with that. Is integration only possible through the cabinet action? I read that one already. My apologies. Pardon me for asking, but this seems a little slow. Yeah, slower than EU4. I feel like I won't be able to get any territory productivity near my starting for a lot of the campaign. Well, the response here is, yeah, you won't be able to conquer the entirety of Western Europe in 50 years and have it cored. It seems like that's true. Cheap cores, not a thing. The ability to force a core, not a thing. Uh, it's a slow process of increasing integration and then getting a core at the end of it. Also, accepting more cultures. We don't yet know how accepting cultures works. If it's like EU4, I'm going to be pretty unhappy. I am assuming, basically praying that it's not. I don't believe it's going to be like that. I don't think we're going to have a limited number of accepted culture slots, because this system would be horrific with that kind of system, right? Never getting a core because you can't accept more cultures is not fun. So hopefully that is not going to be the case. I think it should be really expensive to take things which are not part of the war goal. Well, that is always more expensive, and you'll see more about it next week. Good to know. And then Booker here saying, I think it's kind of the point about it being slow. Early game, you'll be able to expand slowly and mostly within your culture group. Then eventually it'll pick up as the action itself gets more powerful and you accept more cultures. Feels like a great tool for curbing snowballing and making you feel extra powerful in the first 100 years. Curbing the making of you feeling extra powerful. And Johan just saying yes to this. So yeah, it is a snowball preventative. I don't know about the no claims thing. I guess cores work as claims in a way, but how then would some aggressive leaders be portrayed? Will they just use no CB and then they'll have special, or will they have a special conquest CB so you can aggressively expand? How will the Ottomans just conquer Byzantium if they have no cores there? What's their CB on Biz then? So no CB is the best CB. I don't know if this. I feel like this is always a joke. I don't think that I know anybody that like legitimately believes this. But yeah, recovering stability in Project Caesar is more similar to EU3 than EU4. It's a matter of time, not a matter of mana spending. But there are narratives from events and situations and disasters that give you CBs. So I imagine the Ottomans are going to be getting CBs from maybe they're like their mission tree, honestly. And we know missions are going to be a thing. I imagine the Ottoman mission tree is going to be about conquering Byzantium and further. But yeah, it's certainly going to be an interesting one. I think a lot of... In EU4, we have the problem of mission trees giving certain countries free personal unions, giving them free cores, giving them tons of free claims. Here, it looks like it doesn't look like, but I am assuming, I am positing, I am theory crafting that mission trees are going to be giving CBs, especially as we know that the mission tree system is going to be more similar to Imperator Rome, and in Imperator Rome there was a conquest of region mission tree that would give you a bunch of claims and such on a region that you had adjacent to you. So maybe that's what we're going to see here as well. That the way to expand is to use the conquest of region mission trees, which everyone will get, and they are like dynamically generated. I could see that being the case. It wouldn't be identical, of course, but it might. Maybe we'll get something from there. Yeah, okay. Integration takes from 25 to 50 years. That's like a tenth of the whole game. Well, in EU3 it took 50 years, which is like a fifth of release. Okay. I don't think EU3 is super relevant nowadays. Maybe it is more than I think. Again, I haven't played EU3 yet, so I couldn't say for sure. But I don't mind that it's slower. I don't mind that I'm not going to be able to conquer the world. I don't mind that, in EU4, I play the game until I become more powerful than people around me, and I get a little bored of that. And then I start a new game. If the process of becoming more powerful than everyone around me takes longer, that means I enjoy the game for longer. So I'm kind of okay with that. It's why multiplayer games last longer into the game than single-player games, even though multiplayer can often, die as well earlier. But I think on average, multiplayer games do last longer than single-player games. But yeah, no, this is... I'm fine with it being slower. Given that integrating a province can take 50 years, can we pause it? Have the cabinet member do something more urgent and then return to it? Or would it have to start over from the beginning? Yes, it can be paused. Fantastic news. Something that was a little bit worrying, but yeah, no, this is great. It might be too early to say. Certainly a steep opportunity cost. What happens if the integration gets interrupted? If a cabinet member dies, etc. If a cabinet member dies, all that happens is the progress is a bit slower until you assign a new cabinet member, and it is true for all cabinet actions. So nothing will just instantly lose progress, which is obviously great. If I lose an integrated core province to rebels or in war, do I need to integrate it again after recapturing it? Integrated, yes. Your integration level will slowly tick down every month. So go and take back your land. In EU4, Russia has a special government type that allows them to make CBs on states instead of provinces. I love this thing, by the way. In EU4, I really like having that. And since it's not possible to make CBs in the same way in Project Caesar, is some unique mechanic not included in Project Caesar, or is it reworked to be done differently? So a CB on an entire area would be worse for you, though, in taking it, so it's not something we've added. I don't know why it'd be worse for you. Like, it is more land, so maybe it'd be harder to integrate more land, but I think that's probably fine. I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to that existing in some form. If one decides to use the best CB, does that mean that there will be no war goal to fulfill, so you'll have to rely more on a general aggression to extract the peace deal you want, because you'll not get any discounts from a normal CB. Also, you wouldn't have, conquered war goal plus 25 war score. Yes, that is correct. Lovely. Is there any impact from estate or influence privileges on integration? Not sure there is any at the moment. Maybe there will be. Do the current tags start with all their own locations 100% cored, or will different tags have different levels of integration to represent pre-1337 conquests? No, they don't have all their locations 100% cored. Many have locations at conquered status, and some have it at integrated. Very cool. And then what I'm going to do is also, I'm going to refresh this page so we can see if there's anything more, because I've been recording for 27 minutes. This was 37 minutes ago. Maybe there's some more. So just a little bit of curiosity. No, that is the last one that we got so far. So that's conquest. That's integration. That is different. It is undeniably slower. Undeniably, and I think intentionally slower as well. And I imagine some people, mainly and I'm making a bit of a judgment here, I guess. But I think this style of play is fine, but it's not for me. The people who want to do challenges, the people who want to do achievement or hunting, the people who like world conquests, the people who are, I guess, sweatier than me, I imagine these people are not going to like it that much. I imagine they're going to be a little bit disappointed with this dev diary. I am not one of those people. I am way more happy with this. I like that it is slower, as long as the game is active enough in other regions that lack of pace in Conquest isn't felt, right? It isn't something that I'm like, in EU4, if I'm not expanding, I kind of feel like I'm in a dead end. Like, the only thing to do if I'm not expanding is construct buildings and click a dev button. It's not exactly the most engaging thing in the world. So hopefully there is enough to be concerned with in Project Caesar that is fun and engaging, that is not Conquest, so that the pace of Conquest isn't really felt. But slowing it down so that I am not completely outpacing the AI in 150 years is something I think is very keenly needed. So that's why I'm happy with that. The lack of a CB is interesting. I do think that we're going to be getting some CBs via mission trees. The cabinet action calling the parliament for CBs seems pretty powerful as well. But yeah, no, this is definitely an interesting divergence from the norm. And I kind of like it. So, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below if you like what I do here. Again, I'm not just a text-to-speech for the Dev Diaries. I will always be giving my opinions and thoughts and such. And if you like that, maybe drop me a like, drop me a subscription. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will see you on Friday for the map of basically a crap ton of land, because we're looking from Crimea in Ukraine all the way over to Mongolia. It's going to be a huge map, and I'm looking forward to that. So I will see you on Friday. Bye-bye.